Have you ever spent the entire day busy, only to lie down at night not knowing what you actually live for? We are living in the fast era in human history, and yet also the most exhausted one. More knowledge, more tools, more choices, and strangely, less peace. Thousands of years ago, people with no internet, no phones, no technology left behind sentences so short that a single line can stop you for a lifetime. Today, we're not here to quote pretty lines. We're going to break these quotes down one by one through the core schools of Stoic philosophy to answer one very practical question: if I actually live by these ideas, how should I live differently tomorrow? And more importantly, at the end of each section, you will receive extremely concrete exercise. Not to understand philosophy, but to live it right here in this modern life full of pressure. If you feel like always busy, but never fulfilled, always trying, but never calm, always moving forward, but not knowing where you're going, then this video is not for intimate. It's meant to wake you up. We begin with the first group, where Stoic philosophy goes straight to what drains modern people the most: desire. Here's something strange that few people dare to say out loud. We are not exhausted because we lack things. We are exhausted because we want too much. We want faster. We want to be ahead of others. We want certainty. We want not to fall behind. We want to feel valuable. Stoic philosophy, and more broadly, ancient Eastern wisdom, doesn't start by asking, how do I get more? It starts with a much harder question. Eastern wisdom teaches that peace comes from wanting less, not having more. At first glance, this line is easy to misunderstand. It sounds like moral advice, like someone telling you, don't be greedy. But no, this isn't about morality. It's about how the human mind actually works. Look closely. You can have money, but your mind never says, that's enough. You can gain more achievements, yet there's still a voice whispering, not enough. Stoicism faces this truth directly and says, anxiety doesn't come from lacking, it comes from the habit of always wanting more than what is present. And that's why the next line sounds even more counterintuitive. The ancients knew that chasing happiness only drives it further away. Happiness, the thing modern society tells you to pursue, is exactly what runs faster the more you chase it. Why? Because the moment you say, I'll be happy when, you've taught your mind that the present is not enough. And when the present is never enough, peace has nowhere to land. Stoicism doesn't take you to give up goals. It teaches you not to place happiness as a rot in the future. Marcus Aurelius implied this clearly. If your mind isn't at peace right now, it won't be at peace anywhere else. This brings us to the next line, one that modern people find especially hard to accept. The East taught that true freedom begins where excessive desire ends. We usually define freedom as, I can do whatever I want. But Stoicism asks a different question. If your desires control every decision, where is your freedom? If you have to check your phone constantly, are you free? If you need validation, are you free? If you can tolerate falling behind, are you free? Freedom, according to Stoicism, is not having more options, but being controlled by fewer things. And excessive desire is the most subtle chain of all. This is where the next line hits the root of the problem. Eastern sages knew that clarity is born from simplicity, not complexity. The modern mind believes more information equals more intelligence. More choice equals more safety. But reality works the opposite way. The more things you want at the same time, the louder your mind becomes. And a noisy mind can never see clearly. Wisdom, according to Stoicism, doesn't come from adding more, it comes from removing unnecessary desires. Removing goals that aren't truly yours. Removing the pressure to live by other people's standards. And now comes the most important question of this section. If all of this is true, how should we actually live differently? Ancient Eastern philosophy offers the perspective, but how, so we apply it to real life? You should try the small exercise below to bring these ideas into practice and make your life lighter and more peaceful. Exercise 1. Inventory your desires for the next 10 days. Whenever you feel stressed, anxious, or uneasy, pause and ask one simple question: what am I wanting more of right now? No judgment. No fixing. Just noticing. You begin to see that most pressure comes from desires that aren't truly necessary. Exercise 2. Delay desire. Choose one small desire. Example: checking social media, buying something unnecessary, seeking approval. Delay it for 1 minute. Just minutes. You don't have to give it up. You just don't react immediately. That moment is where freedom begins to form. Exercise 3. Redefine enough. Every night, write one sentence. Today, what was already enough? Not what was missing. Not what you need more of. Just enough. Stoicism doesn't teach you to live with less. It teaches you to feel enough sooner. When you want less, your mind becomes lighter. When your mind is lighter, life naturally feels less heavy. And this is only the first group. In the next section, we'll face an even harder question: why is mastering yourself more important than conquering the world? Here's an illusion modern society teaches us from a very young age: that if you are skilled enough, strong enough, smart enough, successful enough, then eventually you'll control your life. Stoicism looks straight at that illusion and delivers a cold line. In ancient Eastern thought, self-mastery was valued more than conquering the world. The ancients didn't need power, money, or influence. They simply understood something we often learn too late: you can conquer the world, but if you can't conquer yourself, you are still being controlled. Let's be honest. How many times have you said, "I know this isn't good for me, but I do it anyway. I promised I'd stay calm, and then I exploded. I wouldn't let this affect me, and it still did." Stoicism calls this the greatest human failure, not failure in the outside world, but failure to govern your own reality. That's why the next line sounds like a warning. Ancient teachings warned that an untrained mind is the greatest source of suffering. Notice carefully, not circumstances, not other people, not fate, but an untrained mind. A mind that reacts instantly. A mind that believes every thought that appears. A mind that can't tell what is within its control and what isn't. Stoicism doesn't take you to think positive. It teaches you to think with discipline. This is where many people misunderstand Stoicism. They think it means suppressing emotions, becoming cold, not caring about anything. No. Stoicism is far more precise. Eastern wisdom values becoming whole, not becoming superior. Self-mastery isn't about standing above us. It's about not being dragged down by yourself. Not by anger. Not by wounded ego. Not by fear of judgment. A Stoic doesn't ask, "How do I defeat others?" They ask, "How do I avoid defeating myself?" You can win an argument and lose your peace. You can gain status and lose integrity. To Stoicism, that is not victory. True victory is when you are insulted and remain composed. You fail and keep your dignity. You are provoked and still respond according to your values. That is quest strength, the kind no title can give you. Let's move into practical exercise together. Pay special attention to exercise 3, silent victory. This one will challenge your inner world deeply. Exercise 1. The Stoic pose for the next 10 days. Whenever you're about to react, argue, reply, explode, explain, pause for 3 seconds. Just 3 seconds. Silently ask yourself, does this reaction turn me into the person I want to be? You don't need a perfect answer. Just create space between stimulus and response. That space is where self-control is born. Exercise 2. Control starting every night. Write down one thing today that was when you control one thing that one can ask. How much energy did I waste on what I couldn't on? Stoicism doesn't help you control the world. It helps you stop being controlled by it. Exercise 3. Silent victory XA. Choose one situation where you could react strongly, but consciously choose the right response. No one needs to know. No recognition needed. Only you knowing today I didn't lose to myself. The world always wants you to react faster. Stoicism teaches you to react better. And when you truly master yourself, you discover a strange truth: you no longer need to conquer the world, because the world can no longer conquer you. In the next section, we'll step into a capacity modern society has almost forgotten: slowing down, patience, going with the flow. If there's one thing the modern world is allergic to, it's slowing down. Slow means losing. Slow means falling behind. Slow means getting left behind. But Stoicism and ancient wisdom says the opposite. What the ancients knew, the fast way forward is often to slow down. It sounds paradoxical, but if you live long enough, you'll realize how uncomfortably true it is. How many of the worst decisions in your life were made when you were rushed, you were panicking, you were afraid of missing out, you wanted to escape discomfort as fast as possible? Slowing down in Stoicism is not procrastination. It's refusing to let fear take the wheel. And that's why the next line is crucial. Ancient wisdom taught patience as strength. Modern minds mistake it for delay. The modern world sees patience as weakness, because patience doesn't trust us. But Stoicism looks deeper. Patience isn't doing nothing. Patience is tolerating the feeling of not done yet without sabotaging the process. The impatient person says what shouldn't be said, chooses shortcuts that lead the wrong way, trades long-term meaning for short-term life. The patient person reached out of discomfort, and forced life to be resolved right now, but slowing down and test nor to know. Stoicism teaches something even harder: not resisting what need to be resisted. The East understood the suffering less begins with resisting less. This doesn't mean surrendering. It means this: not everything needs to be defeated. So much suffering comes from trying to force others to change, trying to force circumstance, then trying to force emotions to disappear. Stoicism asks a direct question: is this resistance actually necessary? Because every time you fight what cannot be changed, you double your suffering, one part from reality, one part from the resistance in your own mind. This leads to the next line: one of the minds often completely misintended. Eastern wisdom reminds us that nature is not something to dominate, but something to follow. We're taught to push ourselves through exhaustion, force emotions to be okay, force life to follow a plan, but nature doesn't work that way. Here are seasons of growth, seasons of stagnation, seasons of rest. Stoicism doesn't teach quitting. It teaches you not to fight the rhythm of life. When you're tired, resting is not failure. When things slow down, slow is not regression. Sometimes, going with the flow is the wisest strategy of all. The exercise below will help you integrate this more fully. Exercise 1. Intentional slowness XA. Choose one thing to do slowly on purpose. Eat slowly, speak slowly, walk slowly, reply slowly while doing it. Ask, what happens when I don't rush? You will notice how many mistakes exist only because of haste. Exercise 2. Patience with the unfinished. Choose one problem in your life right now that cannot be solved immediately. Instead of forcing a resolution, silently say, I allow this to be unfinished. Not neglecting, not avoiding, just not forcing. That is Stoic patience. Exercise strobe on battle each day. Ask, what can I stop fighting today? Not giving up, but letting go of unnecessary battles. an argument, an expectation, a useless need for control, you'll be surprised how much energy gets released. The world keeps urging you to move faster. Stoicism teaches you to move in rhythm. And sometimes slowing down is wasting time, is preventing the loss of yourself. In the next part, we enter a territory modern people find deeply uncomfortable: silence, space, inner life. Here's a quiet fear most of us carry: the fear of silence, the fear of no noise, the fear of no notifications, the fear of having nothing to distract us. We turn on music when alone. We grab our phones while waiting. We consume content just to avoid sitting with ourselves. But ancient wisdom and Stoicism says the opposite. The ancients understood that silence can teach what noise never will. Silence isn't empty. Silence is where truth begins to speak. When everything settles, you start to hear repeating thoughts, avoided fears, questions you've postponed for too long, and because those things are uncomfortable, we return to noise. Stoicism doesn't run far. It stays long enough to understand it. That's why the next line unsettles modern minds. What modern minds fear is emptiness. Ancient sages embraced as space. We're taught emptiness means like doing nothing, is waste, not thinking is useless, but the ancients understood something subtler. Without space, there is no clarity. A room packed full can receive anything new. A mind filled with opinions, expectations, comparisons, other people's voices has no room for its own wisdom. And then we arrive at the final line of this section, one that completely redefines success. The ancients measured success by inner balance, not external applause. The modern world measures success by views, recognition, status, other people's reaction. Stoicism asks a different question: when no one is watching, are you still okay? Because if your peace depends on external applause, you are never safe. Praise can lift you up. Criticism can pull you down. Stoicism doesn't hate achievement. It simply refused to let self-worth hang on other people's opinions. A truly strong person is someone who can be in silence without panic, be alone without escaping, go unrecognized without collapsing. That is inner stability no one can take away. Exercise 1. 1 minute of silence every day. Spend 1 minute. No music, no phone, no content, just sit. No need to meditate well. No need to empty the mind. Just observe without interfering. It will feel uncomfortable at first. That's how you know you're in the right place. Exercise 2. Create intentional space. XA. Remove one unnecessary noise, an app, a mindless scrolling habit, an energy-draining conversation. The space you create will be filled with clarity. Exercise 3. Redefine success every night. Ask, what made me more balanced today, even if no one noticed? No recording. No sharing. Just knowing, I preserve my inner peace. The louder the world becomes, the rarer silence grows. And what is rare is often what's most valuable. In the next part, we confront a dire clash between ancient and modern minds. Ancient thinking vs. the modern mind. Here's a question few people dare to ask: are we truly progressing, or just getting busier? We have more tools than any generation before us. Yet our minds are more restless than ever. Ancient wisdom saw this problem long ago. The ancient mind sought harmony with life. The modern mind seeks control over it. The ancients didn't see life as something to control. They saw it as something to harmonize with. The modern mind is the opposite, controlling controlling emotions, controlling self-image, controlling how others see us. Stoicism delivers a cold reminder: the more you try to control something, the more it controls you. That's why the next line hits like a wake-up slap. Modern minds chase answers. Ancient wisdom teaches how to live with questions. We're taught not knowing is weakness and certainty is danger. Answers must come immediately, but the ancients understood not every question needs to be closed. Some questions: who am I? Am I living rightly? What truly matters? Aren't meant to be answered, but lived with. Stoicism doesn't deceive you certainty. It gives you the ability to live in uncertainty without collapsing. The next line challenged modern faith itself. What modern minds call productivity, ancient wisdom questioned as restlessness. Busyness isn't it progress? Doing more is doing right. Many people work non-stop, avoid essential questions, use productivity to escape inner emptiness. Stoicism doesn't hate action. It hates action without action. A life full of tasks but empty of meaning is still an exhausting life. Can we reach a concept modern society resists deeply? What modern minds call weakness, ancient wisdom called humility. Today, humility is misunderstood as inferiority, lack of confidence, lack of ambition. Stoicism sees humility as knowing your place in the order of things, not inflating the self, not overreacting when ego is touched, differs less than steadier in failure. That's not weakness, not weakness, not weakness. That's sharpened wisdom. Now let's move into practice. These exercises will help you grow in thought and action. Exercise 1. Selective release of control each day. Ask, what am I trying to control today that I don't need to? Choose one thing to release. Outcomes, others, reactions, your image. Letting go instead losing. It's choosing the right battle. Exercise 2. Living with a question. Write down one big question in your life you don't yet have an answer to. Don't solve it. Don't Google it. Don't force it. Just let it exist. Observe how it shapes your actions. That is ancient wisdom in practice. Exercise 3. Meaningful productivity. Every night ask, did what I did today move me closer to my values? Not, how much did I do? But, did I do what was right? Stoicism doesn't need you fast. It needs you aligned. The modern world creates speed. Ancient wisdom creates direction. And without Zaishin, speed only jets you lost faster. In the final part, we close with a simple question, and one of the hardest to live by: is life meant to be solved or lived? If you look back at everything we've covered, one thing becomes clear: Stoicism tries to make life easier. It tries to make us resist life less. The next two lines form the foundation of everything Stoicism teaches. Ancient wisdom focused on inner order before seeking outer change. We're taught to fix the world, fix others, fix circumstance, but really taught how to organize ourselves. Stoicism starts within because it accepts a difficult truth: a chaotic mind can turn any situation into a problem. You can change environments, change jobs, change relationships. But if inner order stays the same, ease follows you everywhere. And then comes the final line, the closing line, so simple many people overlook it. Eastern wisdom reminds us life is not a problem to solve, but a reality to live. We treat life like a puzzle. When will this be done? When will things stabilize? When will I be happy? When will it be enough? But life has no final answer. Every time you think you've solved it, a new chapter opens. Stoicism doesn't ask, how do I eliminate problems? It asks, how do I live rightly even while problems remain? You don't need to wait until anxiety disappears, uncertainty and difficulties vanish to begin living. You live first, then learn to walk alongside those things. That is maturity no technology can accelerate. If these ideas sometimes sound cliché or preachy, that's why we turn to practice to make them real. Exercise 1. Reorient the inside. Every night ask, what inside me feels tangled today? Don't fix it immediately. Just name it. Stoicism believes what is clearly seen naturally loses its grip. Exercise 2. Stop solving, start living. Choose one moment each day you normally judge as not good enough. A simple evening, an imperfect task, an ordinary day. Silently sigh, I allow myself to live this moment. No optimization. No fixing. Just living. Exercise 3. The stuck end of day question before sleep. Ask, did I live according to my values today, even while problems remained? If the answer is yes, today was a successful day. Stoicism doesn't promise an easy life. It promises a steady mind to walk through life. And perhaps that's what modern people are missing the most. If you've stayed with me this far, you may have realized something clearly. Stoicism doesn't add anything new to your life. It removes excess desires, unnecessary reasons, unworthy battles, and when those fall away, what remains is the peace you already had. You don't need to become someone else. You don't need to fix your whole life in one day. You only need to slow down a little, reek a little less, live a little more rightly each day. That's how Stoicism works. Quickly. Relentlessly. If this video made you pause and reflect, leave a comment. What touched you the most and why? Not to debate, but to become more aware of yourself. And if you want to continue this journey without noise, without cliches, without cheap motivation, subscribe to Stoic Quotes. We don't promise faster success. We promise steadiness in success and resilience in failure. Because in the end, a steady mind is the one asset no one can take away. See you in the next video of Stoic Quotes.